Hi, I'm Dana, and I'm here with another info dump video because I have a new special interest and I need to talk about it constantly. And I think the people in my real life are really tired of listening to me talk about it already. So this is the place for that. And like I say, it's a new one, so it's not the normal info dump where I'm like, I know everything about this thing, I've loved it forever. It's new and I'm getting to learn about it, and I love that. It's so much fun. So I've gotten really into Taika Waititi and sort of like anyone he's ever worked with. And I think one of the big reasons for me that it's like become a real special interest and a hyperfixation, I love it, is that it feels sort of connected to the whole Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings obsession that I've had going on forever. You know, like Peter Jackson was thanked at the end of the What We Do in the Shadows movie, and New Zealand. So the first thing I want to talk about, because it's the thing I'm most excited about, is Wellington Paranormal. It's my new favourite show. It's the best thing I've ever watched. It is literally perfect. Every time I'm like, oh, it'd be funny if they did. They do it. It's perfect. It's like if the X-Files and Bad Taste had a baby. It's amazing. Basically, it's a spin-off of the What We Do in the Shadows movie, for anyone that's seen that. There's those two cops in it that sort of just don't give a fuck that there's clear vampiric activity going on, and it's because they're basically New Zealand's answer to the X-Files. They're just these two cops that have ended up being put on the paranormal department by their sergeant, and they're just going around Wellington in the night just being like, oh guys, you can't be like throwing up here, you know. I can't do a New Zealand accent very well. But they just don't care. Like, they do care deeply, but they're also kind of idiots, and they're very nice people. So it's like you've got some dude being like, I am Balthazar the demon from hell, and they're just like, right, well, we all need to be getting home now, don't we? It's absolutely brilliant. It's so funny. It's perfectly acted. They're great actors. Everyone in it is a great actor. It's perfect. But I just really love, like, Kiwi comedy, New Zealand comedy. Australian and New Zealand have, like, the best comedy there is, in my opinion. I think they make the funniest people, essentially. So I've been massively enjoying that show. But all this started with What We Do in the Shadows in a slightly weird way, because I saw the movie probably like 4 years ago. It was a while ago. And I was like, yo, I loved that. That was a great movie. We're going to watch the show now. This is going to be great. And I watched the first episode of the show and I was like, it's different. It's all different. It's different characters. No, it's not the same. And I don't like it. Well, I just left it for like years. And then I didn't remember the movie anymore. And I was like, oh, I may as well give this show another watch. And I just immediately fell in love with it all over. It was just, I'm autistic, and it was too different to go straight from the movie to the show. But once I'd forgotten what happened in the movie and any of the characters in the movie, I was like, yeah, like Nando and Nadia are the best characters ever. I love them. And I really, really hope that we get... For anyone that doesn't know, What We Do in the Shadows is basically vampires, but again, they're kind of idiots, but really nice people, so you just want the best for them all the time. And they keep fucking it up for themselves, and it's a bit bizarre and weird and just so fucking funny. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And it was from there that I was like, oh, I should probably watch Our Flag Means Death. And I didn't love the look of it. I haven't always been the biggest fan of pirate stuff. Like, I only watched Pirates of the Caribbean because it had Orlando Bloom in it, and I was like, I'll watch anything that has someone out of Lord of the Rings in it. I'm going to explain Our Flag Means Death to you because it's new, so I'm going to pretend it's new to everyone and not just me. It's about the pirate Stede Bonnet, who was just this posh rich bloke, essentially, and he was sick of his life. He was like, I've had enough of me kids, had enough of me wife, had enough of, like, being a rich Tory dude, I guess. Gonna go be a pirate, gonna get a ship and put a crew together and be a pirate. And that's what he does. He just abandons his wife and kids like a good guy always does, and goes off for a life on the sea, and it's a good time with his little gang of misfits. We need to talk about the crew. I immediately was like, yo, Lucius is my favourite. He's a baby. He's a sweet, sweet baby. And then I very quickly was like, no, actually, Frenchie is sort of everything. I loved him as Stylax in Plebs. I love it when actors out of other things I enjoy doing things I enjoy. Stylax is where it's at. But then I was like, yo, like, Oluwande's like a baby though. He's a little sweetheart and I love him. And I want to protect him under all costs because he's so nice. But then I was like, yo, like, Jim's so cool and badass, and the Swede is so great, and Buttons, and oh, basically, I love everyone in the show apart from Izzy. I've just started to like venture into the fandom on Tumblr. I'm using my Tumblr again. I've not been having a great time, and we're receding to Tumblr like we're teenagers again. So I've been venturing into our Flag Means Death fandom over there. And there's so much love for Izzy, like people doing really amazing fan art of him and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but why? He's like the shittest character. I don't like Izzy. Like, I know we're not meant to like him, but I don't like him in any way. Like, I'm like, yeah, he's like a good character, the actor's cool, like whatever, I get why he's in the show, but I don't care for him. Okay, so spoilers are beginning here now, because I just said a whole thing and I was like, oh, that's a big spoiler. So spoilers for Our Flag Means Death start now. Click away if you don't want to hear them, because we're getting into it now. Right, so we're getting into it because Jim's not a man, are they? I immediately was like, yo, something going on with Jim, why is he so quiet? And then I was like, oh, they're a woman, fair, yeah, like that's often the way in pirate things, isn't it? There's always got to be a woman smuggled on board at some point. May as well do it that way. But of course, as like their character develops more in the show and their character is like spoken about and spoken to more often and reflects with other characters more, because you can't do that when you're mute, the more they get referred to by they. And I think it's the first show I've ever watched where someone is non-binary and just referred to with they pronouns. I like that it's very much like, yeah, we're going to strand you on an island and fuck you up and leave you here to die, but I'll respect your partner's pronouns. I just think it's really nice, and I think it shows that it is very easy to do. Like, it doesn't feel forced or weird, it's just Jim, they're just Jim. That's just Jim. You know, it doesn't feel weird or forced or anything. I love it and I love them, and the whole show's fabulous. And we've got to talk about Blackbeard, because Blackbeard, Ed, like, I'm a lesbian and I'm like, yeah, I would marry Ed. Like, I would quite happily spend the rest of my life with Ed. He is a little sweetheart and I love him so much. And Steed had better be fucking nice to him. Like, you know, one of the things that I really love about Our Flag Means Death, and really what we do in the shadows as well, and a lot of the other things I've watched that Taika's been a part of, I really love that the characters are like, they're emotional, they're kind of not necessarily gentle or feminine, like Blackbeard ain't feminine, but he's still a character that's very much in touch with his emotions and can talk about things. And you get that like with Nandor, and you know, a lot of the characters are very, I don't talk about emotions, but those around them do, and they're sort of dragged into it. And it's perhaps not what we would stereotypically expect of masculinity, but I think it's a very important part of masculinity, and I think it is masculine to talk about your feelings sometimes. Like, I don't know, there's just something that's very, it still feels very manly, but it's also quite soft and gentle and feeling based. And that's the vibe I've gotten from a lot of Taika stuff, and I really fucking like it. You know, it just feels very vulnerable, and it feels very relatable. As someone who, like, as much as I overshare on here, I'm not very good at sharing my emotions and feelings and thoughts with the people that are actually around me. And it's nice to sort of see that in other characters and be able to see them figure it out and figure themselves out. And yeah, like, I've seen a lot of people talk about that, because it does feel like a lot of Taika Waititi stuff is very figuring stuff out. You know, the characters are quite flawed a lot of the time, but they're still great. They're still good people that have flaws, and I just think they're incredibly well written characters and well directed and well acted, and I love everything he's done. And I've also watched a bunch of interviews with him, as I always do when I have a new hyperfixation, and the way he speaks about like creativity and the reasons for creating things and life in general, I find very comforting and very, I don't know, watching interviews with him makes me feel a lot better about myself, and I feel quite inspired to try to do my own shit, I guess. You know, he just feels like obviously he sort of just tumbled into filmmaking, didn't he? I think it's quite refreshing to see someone that's doing something they're good at and that they enjoy, rather than it all being, I've worked my entire life for this and this had to happen and this had to happen, because like, I haven't got nothing I've worked my entire life for. I don't really know where I'm going or what I'm doing. And apparently neither did he, and he's ended up being Taika fucking Waititi, so maybe I've got some hope yet. That was a bit sad. Wow. Let's cheer it back up by going back to Our Flag Means Death. Like, shit. You wear fine things well. That was just adorable. It's so cute. You know, we're getting queer representation from someone that I actually like. Like, normally I have to jump on and be like, oh yeah, I'm suddenly really into whoever's created Sense8, so I've totally seen The Matrix. But now it's queer representation from someone where, like, I would have watched this eventually no matter what, you know, because it's Taika. And it's actually something that I like. So that's the big thing for me, because, like, a lot of you'll know that I have an absolute obsession with Keeley Hawes. But a lot of the stuff I've watched from Keeley Hawes, I'm like, I watched it, you looked great in it, you did a good job in it, baby. But I didn't enjoy it. Like, I couldn't give him two shits about the plot, the characters, whatever was going on. I didn't care. I was just like, oh, Keeley Hawes. Whereas with Taika's stuff, it's like, I really love this stuff. Everything I've watched from so far, I've been like, yeah, like, if you just showed me this with no context out of the blue, I'd have thought this was amazing. And he's, like, created it just for me. Now, I feel like that's something I've said in a few videos when I'm, like, talking about, I think I said about the Foo Fighters. I say it a lot because I think that that's a sign of good media for me, you know, is when it feels like it was made just for me. And obviously I'm aware it wasn't. I know there's other people out there, but also we could be living in a simulation, so it might have just been made for me. And also, I think that that's just how good media should feel. You know, whether it's a book or music or a TV show, it should feel like it was made for you. That's what good representation gives. I could talk about, like, the Wilder people, or I could talk about Thor, or I could talk about Jojo Rabbit, but they're things that I just sort of, like, I saw them, I liked them a lot, but there's a lot more that I'm really loving from Taika, and that was the stuff I wanted to talk about here. And I'm sure I've forgotten something because I normally do, but Comic-Con's this weekend, and I'm really anxious, so I won't lie to you, I have just kind of been like, I need to make a video, I just need to make a video, and I thought it may as well at least be one that I'll enjoy. So I didn't even have notes for this, it's incredibly rambly, and I'm dreading this coming weekend. It should be good, I think, it should be good, it's just pre-Comic-Con extreme anxiety and depression. But yeah, I'm gonna end it there. If you're already a fan of Taika, let me know what you've enjoyed from him. What were your favourites? Have I inspired you to watch any of this stuff? Is there anything that you think sounds similar that I might enjoy? I'm always happy for... I just want people to comment. Like, it's not even an algorithm-based thing. I enjoy... It feels like I'm talking to you in some way, and I don't speak to many people. So I really like getting comments if you wanted to comment anything. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to edit this video. I'm not gonna have time to do it tomorrow. God, I really need to pull my hand out of my ass and actually be productive today, as though it's not already almost 3 p.m. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, afternoon, day, week, month, year. I'll see you guys in a few days.